What is going on, Governors? Chisgule here, and today we're going to be talking about the Ark of Osiris patch update. We're going to give you some predictions around what we think these new commanders are going to do and how this battleground is actually going to work. With us today to have this conversation is none other than Last Swagger, who's got a YouTube channel that I enjoy watching. And in fact, his channel was one of the first that I had ever seen that had crazy, insane wars. Last Swagger, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Right on. We've been trying to find a way to collaborate on a video for a while, and I'm glad that we can put on our tinfoil hats and see what we can come up with for how we think this update might work out. So let's get rolling on these commanders, because let me tell you, few things excite me as much as commanders. So there's six commanders that we need to talk about, and let's make some predictions. The first is Constantine, a strong city defender who has turned the tide of many battles. So we already have a lot of garrison commanders. What sort of new stuff do you think they might bring to us with someone like Constantine?
Now they something new that they can do is put a defending commander but with archers.
Mhm.
And how crazy could that be?
Mhm. You're right that we have a garrison commander in Yi Ye, who is an archer commander at the legendary tier. But Yi Ye is very offensive, not a very defensive commander at all. And you know what I think they might do? And I'm just like totally guessing here. But when I think about like what do you really want to happen when you're defending your city? What if one of the skills that this commander had made it so that fewer of your units went to the hospital or died?
It will be crazy,
I,
but whew,
I think it would be
that
kind
would
of
be
interesting. Otherwise, I'm wondering what they would bring us that would be different about this commander that we don't already have. I think a defensive archer commander would be pretty sweet. Someone who doesn't have any march speed but is just focused on like being very strong when they're in place. And I feel like it would be pretty sweet to see something that reduces the amount of deaths you have or the number of units that would ultimately run to your hospital. Because, you know, when you're defending your city, you only have deaths when your hospital fills up.
yeah, but I think that that skill would be good into someone that is attacking because when you are attacking, you are losing a lot of troops. If you think about it, and you have hospitals when you are defending. So and if you are defending and you get less troops die dead, it's like game changer, and a lot of pay to win players will use this commander and they will get never killed.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do here that'll be different. That's my personal prediction. We're going to get fewer people going to the hospital. I think that'd be cool. It'd be different. It'd be a reason to try this new commander, even if you already have great garrison commanders.
Maybe they can do something like increase hospital as garrison commander. What about that?
Increasing the hospital capacity, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. Let's talk about the next commander, who is an epic commander, Khalid ibn al. Oh man, Walid. I'm mispronouncing things here. I really need a pronunciation guide. This is a cavalry commander who performs very well in pitched battles. Now, pitched battles to me that means a battle that lasts a really long time. So you know what I think is going to happen here? I think that this commander is going to give bonuses for the longer they're in combat.
Yeah, they probably gonna have heal for sure, one skill.
Mm-hmm. Healing could be good. You know this description makes me think a lot of CPO because his second skill makes it so that when he's been weakened, he gets stronger and stronger. I feel like that style of skill may show up on this commander.
Yeah, and one of his skills could be cavalry, so they have one infantry like Scipio, and for cavalry they have this new commander.
So let's get a look at the next legendary commander, Saladin, who excels at attacking cities, but his strong moral code stops him from pillaging enemy resources. Now, this is really interesting. Because to me, when there's a downside on a commander, like in this case, they can't pillage resources, that means there's an upside somewhere else that makes up for it. And I love commanders that do that, by the way. Like, I mean, honestly, I would love to have a commander that's better at actually doing the attacking, even though it can't take resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be
It'd be really
really,
good.
really, really crazy.
Yeah, but you know what's nuts? Spoiler alert. The other legendary commander, and we'll talk about these two at the same time, um, is, and I think it's Mehmed the Second, perhaps the best commander yet for attacking cities and launching rallies. So wait a minute, if
Yeah.
Saladin is not the best commander at attacking cities, like what upside is he getting from not being able to pillage enemy resources? It must be something else. Maybe he's also good in open field. There must be some upside he's getting, and if it's not in attacking cities, I wonder what it is.
Now we say that in the first commander we can have an archer defending, but in here, if you look at the troops stats, you can see that archers get less resources than every other troops.
Hmm.
That one part of the sentence really made me think that this commander is about archers, and he will have a lot of damage like Isunji.
I like that prediction. I like that prediction a lot. And, you know, I'm just really giddy to have less units die. But maybe they can't pillage resources and they have less units die. I don't know. I'm eager to see what upside we get, and if it's not in attacking cities, and I assume it's not because they're saying Mehmed is a better commander, then I kind of wonder what that upside is going to be. Now,
Probably are weak in. Yeah, maybe they you can take resources while attacking it. It's it's really sketchy, this one.
yeah, there's got to be some upside, and I wonder what that is. Now, let's talk for just a second more about what perhaps the best commander yet for attacking cities and launching rallies would do. I assume that they just get a bunch of damage when they're like launching a rally against a player city, right? Like they get some sort of advantages for being the person launching the rallies, which to me, by the way, this screams that you're going to want your alpha players to have this commander. And like, I don't know that everybody else needs to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that they are doing this because you have seen that in a lot of kingdoms, defense is the best attack till now, and there is no legendary commander that can do a lot of damage to the defending part, and most of the time the defending part always win the
Hmm.
battle. So I think that this commander gonna change this thing of defense.
Hmm.
It's it probably gonna give the person who rallies a lot of buffs. All the rally troops gonna have these buffs, and it will make a huge difference in attacking.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing I struggle with a little bit, and you probably saw this in my most recent war videos where I defended a objective and got kind of wrecked when I was doing defense, even though I had a level 60 Richard that was a 5-5-3-2 and I was defending a flag. And a part of what happened is that I was completely out teched. It was an enemy alpha that was launching the attack, and they had like 30% more of each stat for each type of unit than I did. Like I just stood no chance. So the reason I mention that is that these legendary commanders for attacking cities seem to me like probably it's the alphas that are going to want to hunt for these, and your average player might want to be investing somewhere else.
Yeah, in my opinion, alphas should go for the attacking legendaries, and the other guys in the middle power or low power, they should focus on defense because they are the one that gonna get solo attacked from the whales of the enemies. And as you mentioned in your video, it's this thing that even if you have in a rally level 1 or 2 troops, your big player is making this rally, your level 2 troops gonna have stats of level 4 troops.
Yeah.
And that's why it had a lot of difference in the battle that you showed.
Yeah, I mean, I realized, like, I put 5 skill points on a Richard or Charles Martel, and that gives 15% infantry defense and attack or whatever those stats actually are. But, like, dude, this other player has, like, 30% plus more stats of every type than I do. So, like, it doesn't matter how many skills I have on my Richard. It doesn't matter what level my Richard is, right? Like, against that style of player, you've gotta have your strongest player at the helm.
Yeah,
So I realized that when I was scrolling along, I actually skipped one of the commanders, which is Belisarius. And that is an epic commander. It is a cavalry commander who presents an enormous threat to weaker armies. Now, that description I think is really cool. And maybe they're going to have some skills on this commander that make it so that if you're attacking an army that is at like 50% strength or less, that you do extra damage. That's what I think that might be.
I like that prediction, but the one thing that comes in my mind is what if they do cavalry, because cavalry is most used of attacking resource tiles.
Hmm.
And what if they do, if they give this commander a skill that if you attack resource tiles, you will deal more damage to this?
Yeah,
Because the weaker armies are the ones that are farming.
that's an interesting point, right? Like there's another way you could slice it is if you have an overwhelming force, you have way more troops than the enemy, you get some kind of bonus, or maybe it's a mobility bonus to get to those smaller places. To me, it sounds like what they're creating here is a very tactical unit that you use strategically to attack the weaker units to completely finish them off. And cavalry are excellent for that. I think this will actually end up potentially being a really good choice for your average player of this game who wants to play really smart in the open field. Because your average player can't take big hits from a stronger player. You've got to be hitting strategic targets, and it's possible that this commander will help you be better at exactly that activity.
It's a really good idea.
So the final commander we need to talk about is Osman the First, and this is they say a rare example of a leadership commander who also deals impressive skill damage. And this is kind of exciting. So to me, this means they're going to have some sort of primary attack that does a lot of damage, um, probably on the levels of like Boudica sorts of damage. Maybe
Yeah.
even higher if it doesn't have all of the like buffs and debuffs like Boudica does. And it's also, I assume, going to have probably the fourth skill be one that increases the number of troops you can bring to the field, which is what your leadership commanders typically all have, right?
Yeah, that one is clearly the point. I think the same. The fourth skill gonna be increasing the troop capacity of your march. But the nuke, I think it's another. It's leadership with nuke power. I think, and in difference from Boudica, they can get away from barbarians, from attacking barbarians that Boudica has in her second skill. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I wonder if it's going to be similar to Frederick the First, where the three things that we have are the skill tree, the leadership tree, and then also the conquering tree.
Yeah, and in this case, they take away the conquering and put the nuker one. They say that he's gonna do a lot of damage with his skill.
I assume they're going to replace the attack tree with the skill tree. You know what'd be
Maybe.
interesting though? You know what'd be really interesting? I don't
Yeah,
I don't think they would
yeah,
do this, but I don't think they're going to make it so you could have like the skill tree and the attack tree. But that would be a pretty sweet combo. Woo.
yeah.
I,
But it's gonna be good for free to play players because they're gonna have a strong commander, a strong epic commander that they can level up.
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot for open field. The when do you want to have more troops? It's open field. Because if you're doing rallies, right, presumably you can fill the rally anyways, and bringing more troops doesn't really matter. So this is really good for open field combat. That's what I'm seeing here, and you're going to do a lot of damage, which I'm pretty excited about. So,
Yeah.
with all that said, let's talk for a minute about the battlegrounds because I think the battlegrounds are so tremendously exciting the Alliance Battlegrounds. We know very little about how they are actually going to work. And again, I want us to put on our tinfoil hat and talk about the ways in which we predict these battlegrounds might work. Before we do that, what we know so far is that the top 20 alliances in each kingdom are going to be able to register. And it sounds like there's some sort of registration opportunity. So I don't know exactly what that means. We'll talk about it in a second. And then there'll be two alliances facing off. And so I guess it's a one-on-one battleground where your alliance fights some other alliance. And the first alliances that are going to be able to have an opportunity to play this are in Kingdom 1 through 8, which I think is generally a smart play, that they are making sure that it actually works before everybody gets their hands on it. Know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good because it's a lot of time that have passed from those kingdoms and the newest ones.
So let's start by, and I want to answer three questions. I want to hypothesize about three questions around these Alliance Battlegrounds. The first is going to be who plays. The second is going to be when do we play? And the third is going to be how does it actually work?
Okay, sounds good.
So, on the topic of that first question, who plays? When it says there's a registration, I wonder if your members register, and when it pairs you with another alliance, it does it not based off of your total alliance power, but based off of the number of members that said they actually want to participate in this round of Alliance Battlegrounds.
Now I think that the leader or even reforce can apply to this one, so you can accept the battle if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so it could
Even
also be that like the leader applies for on behalf of their entire alliance, and the entire alliance is registered.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. And the point of power is really good from your part because you can't take everyone. I don't think that they will let us have everyone from our alliance in this battlefield. And I think that even in here, leader and reforce can probably give orders of who's joined because you really need to have the strongest members in there. uh, you can take even with the members with tier 3 troops, but if you don't have enough players, of course that you will take it. It depends on how many members you can let to join in this battlefield.
Yeah, you bring up a really interesting point. Like my alliance can have 122 members right now, and we're working to grow that. So, like, gosh, are we talking about 250 people on a battleground at the same time? Like, can the game handle that? I don't know. I hope everybody can play, and I expect everybody will have plenty of opportunities to play this format as much as we all want. Um, but I think it's an interesting question of who actually gets to play. And I want to, unless you've got something else to add to that, I want to shift gears to the next question, which is when do we
Uh,
play? Anything you want to add?
can add that I probably think that it will be 50 versus 50 members because you don't know how good is the technology of the other alliance, and you can't have number differences. And a new kingdom or a battlefield to hold 250 players, it will be insane for the servers. So I think that it's going to be a limited amount of members that you can join, and also they can put some extra members places where you can change the guys that are offline with the ones that are online from the list
Huh.
that you put as as a reserve.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting topic and good segue to the question of when do we play. My alliance has people from like a dozen different time zones. Maybe not literally, but you get the idea, right? So
Yeah,
I wonder, like, what time does this actually take place? Does this take place over a short window of time, a long window of time? Is this like multiple days? Is this like a 1 hour event? I don't know. What do you think?
I think that the 1 hour event, it really sounds logical because 1 hour is a lot of fun to do. And but About the time, I don't know. I have seen in a lot of games like Clash of Clans, Royale, or something like this, that they put some different hours, like 6 hours windows, so you can fight with an alliance that accepts to the time that you are putting. So if you want to fight in 6 a.m., another alliance want to fight at this time, you're gonna match with each other.
Hmm. That is
The
an
only
interesting
way.
idea. I think it gets at an interesting idea as well, which is this going to be synchronous combat or asynchronous? Synchronous means that like everybody is battling in real time, and asynchronous would be like more of like a turn-based style thing where maybe like one group sets the defense and then you set a defense and then all of your remaining troops you get to use for offense. I don't know. This moves us into the next topic of how does it work? And I'm really
Yeah,
eager to hear your thoughts on how it works because you were mentioning to me before we started recording, you've played similar games in the past that had some really interesting mechanics for how they might work. And I'll be honest, my hope is that this is like simultaneous real time battling for strategic objectives and PvE objectives where there's special bosses you got to beat and like all of it happening at the same time where there are hopefully dozens of places of interest that you could need to be at any moment in time. And yeah, talk to me about how you think this is going to work.
I think that that's the best idea that they can come up. So they are putting this event out there so you can fight with some guys and actually win rewards for that fight. So I think that this gonna be into a special map that they will create. Like they have given us some, how can you say? They have some pictures. They posted one picture of the battlefield that looked like a desert,
Hmm.
and then after some weeks they posted another pictures with three structures, and one of them was Ark of Osiris, the other one was Desert Altar, and the other one was Sky Altar. Now, if you ask me about the games that I have played, I think that you're gonna have a, a map where one team, the blue side, because you can see even in the photo that there are blue commanders and red commanders. So the blue side's gonna be probably in left and the red in the right, and you're gonna have a wall map to gain some buildings, to gain uh, to conquer these buildings. And three of them we know actually the names. That the Ark of Osiris, I think it's in the middle of the map, because they're gonna be the world war. It's gonna be in the same distance from both sides to take it.
Yeah, that
And
makes. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sky altar can be in one side, and desert altar in the other side. So both sides have same amount of things to take, of buildings.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And to your point, while I personally really love like farming and getting strong while farming, but the outlet I've really been looking for that we don't exactly have yet is a way to smash other players in a PvP context without losing stuff. Because even if you battle in the open field, you lose resources for doing so because you have to heal your severely injured units. So I am very, very excited to, I hope, fingers crossed, have an outlet here that doesn't fill your hospital, that doesn't cost you resources. It's just pure fun getting to use all of the things you've built so far. And honestly, gosh, there is so much to talk about here. When you think about what troops you get to use, I wonder if it's like just the troops you currently have, which would be very logical, or if it's like every troop you've ever trained. That way, like even if you've suffered big losses, you have something very fun to do and a big contribution you can make to your alliance. Um, I am very eager to see how some of that stuff works.
Yeah, but if they do that thing with troops, you mean that everyone, every whale in every kingdom that have attacked everyone and have like 5 million T5s dead, they're gonna have really a lot of amount of T5s.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be without a limit of hospitals for sure, so you can have all the fun you want. And but you can, they need to take something, because an event isn't an event without them winning something. So I think that they gonna give us the unlimited capacity for hospitals, but they gonna get some of our healing speed ups
Hmm.
for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe
Probably.
there'll be ways to use speed ups. I sincerely hope that it's more of a purely strategy based event based on the things that you've already obtained in game, rather than being an event that you can um, essentially pay to win. Which is funny because one of the alphas in our alliance is named Pay to Win, and he's a very talented player. But no, I hope that we don't have to use speed ups or any of those sorts of consumables, like, for instance, damage buffs and all that kind of stuff, but I bet we will have to use some of those. You know what my big question is? If this is like a multi-hour long event, what if you get attacked while you're trying to do your Alliance Battleground? Like, do you think we're gonna, like, have a situation where our cities are temporarily protected, or I just wonder how exactly that's gonna work.
That that's why they postponed this event.
Because it's so complicated,
Because
man.
yeah, because it's complicated and you can't allow someone to attack someone that is participating on an open field battlefield and is taking care of an event. So I think that they will put a temporarily shield for the duration of the event that you are participating,
Hmm.
and they can take it off directly when you come in your city hall once again after you have finished the event.
It's an interesting idea. The only problem I have with that is, like, okay, so what if you were in a big war on your kingdom and, like, some other alliance times it, so they, like, take some objective and then everybody gets a peace shield? Like, that's not fair. So I don't know how that's gonna work, right? Like, this I find to be a very interesting and complex question. And I'll say this, right? If you're doing expedition, what happens if you get attacked? I mean, I guess you get a notification and you have to stop doing expedition, right?
Yeah, you get notifications when you do expeditions. So
I think that's what it's going to be, man. I think if you get attacked while you're in an alliance battleground, you're going to have to divert your attention. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. Are there any other theories that you have about this alliance battleground that we should talk about?
no, I only think that it's gonna be this open field with a lot of buildings that you can occupy and take points, and who have most points wins.
Yeah,
For my opinion.
that sounds right to me. And I sincerely hope they've got a mix of PvE and PvP objectives, where, like, you've got to battle a boss, but the other enemy wants to battle the same boss for points, and, like, maybe you fight while you're battling the
Yeah,
boss and all that kind of stuff. I think seems really, really good. All that I think
you
would be a lot
rally,
of fun.
you rally the rally like it happened in your kingdom.
Rally
I
the
have
rally,
never
baby.
seen that.
Well, that's an interesting thing.
Never
Like,
seen that.
well, here's a question: are we going to have cities that teleport around in the map, or do you just bring troops? And if I mean, I guess you've got to be able to have cities, right? Because you got to take advantage of having garrison commanders. But if your city gets
Yeah.
attacked, do you lose resources? Like, how does any of that work? I don't know, man. Can you heal troops at all, or do you just have what you have? All of these are
Has a
interesting
lot.
questions.
Yeah,
Um,
it. This is a big event with questions
yeah,
that no one knows.
my sincere hope is that we get an outlet that doesn't use resources, that doesn't use speed ups, that just lets us really enjoy the things that we've purchased into and invested into without any loss whatsoever. And my hope is that at the end of the event, the upside is that you get access to a commander that you otherwise couldn't get. In other words, I think it's entirely possible that this event will have some sort of currency, like how we get expedition currency, and that at the end of it, you win some amount of currency based on how your alliance did, and you choose what you get to invest in.
I think that's the best prediction ever. I think
We'll
I
we'll
think that
see.
that's what's gonna happen
We'll see.
because they need to put some good rewards in there so we can enjoy even the rewards, not only the fighting.
Yeah. It's entirely possible that some of these new commanders will be obtainable only through this new battleground. Or maybe not, right? Like maybe these commanders are available to everyone and maybe they'll be available in the gold keys, but we know they already have commanders that are limited or restricted to certain places, right? We know that Barca and Minamoto, you have to get through VIP. We know that Constance, you can only obtain through Universal Sculptures and the Expedition Shop. So I don't know. We will see. Any other thoughts before we wrap up our predictions?
No, I'm done for now.
Right on. All right, my friends. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. What are your predictions for how these commanders are going to work, for how the Alliance Battlegrounds are going to work? Let us know in the comments. And also in the description of this video, I'll have a link to Last Swagger's channel. You should totally check it out. I'm subscribed. I enjoy the content. Last Swagger, any thoughts before we head out?
Thank you very much, man, for having me here. It is a real pleasure for me to be in your channel, in your amazing channel. So, salute to you, my friend.
Hey, thank you very much. Really enjoyed doing this with you. We should do this again soon. And until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.